Today, I'm going to be listening to my very first ever DevilDriver album. This is Strike and Kill. We're coming home. Hello everybody and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you're familiar with how we do things here, welcome back. I am very excited to do this. It is not an album that I was planning on doing a reaction to. However, when this released, I saw the cover of the album and I thought, I think that might be my favorite album cover of all time. I immediately looked up the artist who did this, and his name is Nicholas Mortensen. And because at first I saw it and I was like, this is an AI album cover art or something, although it's very stylistic. But I saw the cover and I was like, this is probably AI. But then I thought, no, most bands that know not to use AI art, on their album covers and stuff like that. And so I looked up the artist. The artist's name is Nicholas Mortensen. I recommend everyone go check out his website. All of his artwork is very much like this. And I believe that this was a character that he'd done for some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles work, or at least it's very similar to his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles work that he's done. But all of his artwork is like this. And I think it's like the most badass, awesome album cover of all time. I really think it might be in my top 5 favorite album covers I've ever seen. And I'm not really like an album cover guy. Like I do enjoy artwork and I do really like it when an album has a good cover, but it doesn't affect my opinion of the album or anything like that. But it's so striking and so incredible looking in my opinion. And so I was just like, I got to do this. So I'm not going to make this reaction very long. Although I guess if you're unfamiliar with how things work here on the channel, all of our reactions are pretty long here. But we do lots of metal stuff. We do electronic music. We do pop music. We do all sorts of different music here on the channel. We do full album reactions for the most part. And we have several other guys that I do reactions with here on the channel. We've done a lot of Metallica. If you're a metal guy, which you probably are because you're here for the DevilDriver reaction, we've done... I had never heard any of Metallica's albums with the exception of Black Album. So before 72 Seasons came out that year, I think it was 2022 or was it 2023? That year and then the previous year and up until now, we've spent a lot of time going through Metallica's entire discography. So if you're a metal guy or a metal fan, I would recommend checking out our Metallica videos. You may have even come across them yourselves because they're pretty popular, at least compared to the other videos here on our channel. For us, they're popular, but we've got lots of awesome metal content here on the channel. We've got some extreme metal stuff that's come out this year. My friend Chris Schoenberg and I reacted to the Archspire album that came out earlier this year. It was fantastic. I loved it. I don't generally listen to stuff like that. Now, that's kind of a special thing. Archspire is one of those bands where you listen to them and you're like, well, I might as well not listen to any metal anymore. But I'm a big fan of metal. I've done lots of metal stuff here on the channel, and I am a metalhead, I would say. And however, DevilDriver is one of those bands that has eluded me for the last however long they've been a band, probably almost 20 years or more at this point. I know a few DevilDriver songs from soundtracks. I believe there is one on is it the Resident Evil soundtrack? I know Swinging the Dead, and I know Digging Up the Corpses. But I have lots of, I love soundtracks from sort of the early 2000s, late 90s as well. But the early 2000s had some fantastic metal compilations on soundtracks like The Cave, The Headbangers Ball Volume 1 and 2, the Nuclear Blast stuff, the Roadrunner Records All-Star, so lots of stuff like that. So I am familiar with DevilDriver. I know sort of what they sound like. And over the years, I have tried to get into some of their albums, but I've never been very impressed with the production on their albums. And I was very interested in their sort of like Old West cowboy sort of sounding one. And I tried listening to it a couple times the year it came out, and I just was it wasn't holding my attention, and I didn't care for it that much. Here, I'll look at their discography real quick. So that would be Outlaws Till the End Volume 1. So, I tried listening to that one a little bit. I didn't listen to any of it. Looks like they have 2 albums, Dealing with Demons 1 and Volume 2. I never listened to any of that stuff. I mean, I've literally never heard any of their albums, though I think I've heard a couple songs off of their first album from 2003. So yeah, 23 years they've been a band at this point. And then I've heard a couple from their second album. All the way, it says 2003, but I don't think that's right because they also have their second album, The Fury of Our Maker's Hand, says 2003 as well. But it doesn't matter. My point is, I really don't know this band at all, which is kind of crazy considering how much I love Coal Chamber. Now, don't run away from this video going, Coal Chamber is a new metal band, and I'm here for DevilDriver, and they're metal, and you're poser, stupid metal, blah, blah. I think we're beyond that point at this point, right? We can all enjoy the music we enjoy. But I love Coal Chamber. I have all 4 of their albums, though their most recent one that they released in like 2016, 2017. I think that's when it came out. Not a fan of that one at all. But I love their first 2 albums, and most specifically, I love their third album, Darkest Days. I think it is in my top 20 favorite albums of all time. I don't know if I've ever heard another album that sounds exactly like that album, and it just has such a vibe. That album is so phenomenal. I think it's actually a perfect album. I think it's a masterpiece album. And I know lots of people might, laugh at that, and they think, I guess I could see critiques people would have of that, like the lyrics being kind of silly or whatever. But like, I love that album from front to back. I think it's a flawless, perfect album, and I think that I love Des Fafara's vocals. I've talked recently on a Modest Mouse video that I did here on the channel that I really like vocalists who sound like they're sort of on the verge of insanity. And I don't just mean like you're crazy and screaming, because that's every metal, vocalist that's worth their salt, right? But I mean people who sound like they are like on the verge of like being insane. I love that. And I think Isaac Brock from Modest Mouse does that so well. You can hear the insanity in his voice, but then he can also be very intimate and close sounding, and he can sing very well. And Modest Mouse is a very special and unique band in their own right. But I think Coal Chamber, and specifically Des Fafara's like vocals, are just... He had no right singing that heavily, that with that much distortion, that much crazy. His vocals are so heavy in Coal Chamber, and I'm shocked actually that they were as popular as they were. But they also did, some cleaner stuff, and they had some like rappy kind of moments. But I would never say that Des really rapped in them. But like, I love Coal Chamber, and I love the absolute like crazy heaviness of Dez's vocals in Coal Chamber. And then I was excited when I heard that he was going to be in a metal band and that it was going to be much heavier. And like I said, I've tried to get into them over the years, but I just didn't care for the production as much, and I just didn't really try that hard, if I'm being honest. And I just let them get away from me. And it was only in the last few years or so that I started doing reactions that I got my subscription to Spotify Premium, and I listen to stuff online now. But until that point, I really only listened to things that I could get my physical copies of in my hand. And I believe I have the 2 albums that I've been talking about. Well, it doesn't matter, but I believe I have 2 DevilDriver CDs that I own. Now, I have a huge CD collection of over 4,000 CDs, and I have many, 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 many of them that I do not listen to and have never listened to. I don't have any that I don't listen to. I just have some that I haven't listened to ever, and then since we started doing the reaction channel, I don't. But anyway, all I'm trying to do is explain why I haven't tried to get into this band as much. And then since I've gotten Spotify now, I have all of music at my fingertips here. I've just been busy with new music. That's what we focus on here on the channel, new stuff that's coming out, and then also classic stuff that I somehow missed or someone here on the channel missed. But I thought there's no better time to get into this. I've listened to a little bit, maybe like the first 30 seconds of the first track, and I was like, yeah, this goes hard. And I love Dez's vocals. And I was reading a little bit, just very briefly on Wikipedia about this album. I saw that they have a lot of new members in the band. And so it's very heavy, according to them, heavier than stuff they have been releasing recently, though I don't really know. That doesn't mean anything to me. But I really enjoyed the first 30 seconds of the first track. It's a nice, meaty, long album. It's 50 minutes and 58 seconds, so it's 51 minutes. There's 13 songs. They look like they're all full-length songs. It looks like track 6 and tracks 10 are sub 3 minutes, so maybe those will be the most scorching, blazing, heaviest songs on the record, or they'll be intermissions, or they'll be acoustic songs. Who knows? But their songs are pretty long, which I love. I don't even know this band well enough to know whether or not they have guitar solos in their songs, for example. I can't recall hearing a guitar solo in any of the 2 or 3 songs of theirs that I've heard, but I hope that that's the case. But I know they are sort of listed as groove metal, I believe, which there are some groove metal bands that I do enjoy, or at least sort of bands that lean more towards the sort of Fear Factory, Meshuggah style stuff, which I know is not necessarily groove, but it's more pattern rhythmic based rather than lead based, like Metallica or Megadeth or thrash bands, stuff like that. So I do think I'm going to enjoy this. Having listened to just the first 30 seconds of the first song and then knowing some of the other songs that I am very sort of vaguely aware of from this band, I don't know if we're going to be getting much clean vocals on this at all. So I'll be very surprised if there are lots of clean vocals. I don't think there's going to be a lot, but if it's just heavy the entire time, we'll see. Generally, I like to have some non-heavy parts sprinkled throughout the heavy albums that I enjoy to break up the tension and the suspense and to break up the sort of just feeling of being attacked. But there are some albums that I truly love that are basically just attacking you the entire time. So we'll just have to see what happens. So without further ado, let's get into this. And we're just going to start with track 1. This is Dig Your Own Grave. I will also say I do not care for the fact that I look and see that a lot of the songs are explicit. I know a lot of people get annoyed when I bring this up, but here on the channel, we do not have bad swear words on the channel. I can say stuff like badass, but I try to censor out any of the words that I don't believe should be in the videos. And so I will be editing these songs, but I'll just, do a quick little pro job of probably reversing the image or reversing the little swear word in there. It doesn't matter. I don't think anyone will be bothered by it, but I try to mention that because we don't tend to listen to certain bands on the channel like Slipknot or Korn, for example, their early stuff that I've never heard, because they're all the swear words that are in the music. But I'm a good audio engineer, so I can edit the songs and people probably won't even notice, but I notice, and it's something that is important to me. However, bad, swear words in music does not ruin music for me. It can if it's not earned or if it's so cheap or stupid. But he swears in all of the Cold Chamber stuff, so it's not I'm not used to it. I am used to him doing that. And I do believe 1 or 2 of the Cold Chamber of the DevilDriver songs that I am familiar with, he does swear in those too. So it's not a crazy thing, but so I just want to mention that. But let's just get into this. This is track 1, Dig Your Own Grave. This is the one I've heard the first 30 seconds of. But let's get into it because I enjoyed the first 30 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. So there was lead guitar in there for sure. Oh, I love his voice so much. I'm going to probably say it 1,000 times. Okay, bass drop. I wasn't really expecting that. I mean, that's just I wonder if this was mastered by 2 Madsen. Okay. Mastering engineer Gabe Mangold at Studio Nessa. Okay, so kind of a melodic chorus here. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Nice. Gotta turn it up more. Ooh. Panning the lead guitar there. Interesting. Okay, second chorus. His voice has so much character to it, so much layers. It's such a thick vocal. I think his voice might actually be the heaviest vocal I've maybe ever heard. Like, I've heard Lorna Shore and stuff like that, but like, Dez is, okay. What are we doing here? Are we gonna get some crazy breakdown? Oh yeah. Ooh. Ooh. There's like some creepy stuff in the background. Very Rob Zombie. He does vocal stuff. I was curious if there's any keyboards or production stuff like that in this at all. I don't hear anything yet. Maybe it's some stuff in the background here, but I think that's guitar. That's guitar. Yeah. Okay. I am not planning to stop between songs, so just so you're aware. Now, I am curious how different every song from here on out is going to be. Are we going to get variety on this album, or are we just going to get being pummeled the entire time? Because if they do, and it's hard to tell from song to song to song, this band might not really be for me, but we'll see. And just in case so I don't forget, like, let me know in the comments, based on how I'm reacting to these songs, let me know if there's another DevilDriver album I should check out, or what you think would be my favorite DevilDriver album, based on what I'm talking about. All right, moving into track 2 here, Dead in the Water. I did not hear a swear word in that at all, so it's kind of hard to tell what he's saying at times. Okay. Massive chords being held out. Squealy guitar, love that. Let's go. Okay. That snare drum. Very hollow here during the blast beaty section. The production is a little bit muffled. Cymbals sound nice though. Vocals are nice in the mix. I keep wanting to turn it up though, which is generally a sign of being maybe slightly overcompressed or the vocals being a little low in the mix. Oh yeah, he's doing the type thing he did in Cold Chamber a lot. His layering of vocals is so amazing. Oh, yeah. Oh, what rhythm. Ooh. Now, sometimes here on the channel, we do a thing where when I'm perceiving the mix being a little muddy sounding. Oh, hold on. I don't want to do it during a solo section. Oh. There we go. Oh, yeah. Boy, I was really wrong about the guitar solos. The lead guitars are very important here. Like, just overall to the band. I don't know if that's always been the case with DevilDriver. I know they have new guys in the band now. I would look up who these guys are and if they were in other bands, but that would cause my computer to lag and everything, so I'm not going to worry about that. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna boost the highs, right? We'll listen to it like that for a little bit and see if we can tell a difference when I turn it off. Okay, let's turn it off, right? See if that made a difference, I'm not sure. This is not super egregious like some stuff we've heard on the channel. Boy, that's going to be fun to edit. That's the Des Fafara I know from Cold Chamber. Giving it his all in the performance and then having just... Okay, Sanctified and Scars. Oh, I love this. There's like a bit, if Rob Zombie was like super, super hardcore, there's a bit of that in this. The guitars are reminding me. Let's go! Think of what this reminds me of, and I don't know. The production is a little bit like Devin Townsend-y. Hypocrisy, maybe, the band. Which I'm not super familiar with them, but I love the multiple vocal parts. Okay, there's definitely melody in here. Obviously, not that there's not melody, but like there are some cleaner vocals in the backgrounds. But I I love that it's harsh vocal the entire time is the focal point so far. Now, I do hope throughout the album we get some variety of stuff. I love his voice. I just adore his voice. What are we gonna do? Yeah! Oh yeah! Oh, that's so cool. Let's go. I love the extremes that they're doing. Far left, far right, squealing, being crazy. Ooh. I wish the whole thing was just a little bit more dynamic and not so just compressed and smashed to hell against that wall. But it still feels heavy. It's not being too crushed in on itself. All right, we're moving into track 4, Strike and Kill. All right, here we go. Okay, love those guitars in there.
Have it so easy. They never learn the hard way. It's what you want. It's what you get. It's what you get.
Ooh. Okay. There is like that behind the guitars and the riffs and stuff. There is like a soupiness to it. That sounds like mostly guitar stuff, but I really like that. Oh boy. Oh, this is thrashy. Interesting vocal stuff there, like the treatment to his vocals. The drums sound very realistic. And what I mean by that, I don't mean that even in a negative way. In terms of like non-realistic metal drums, like modern metal drums are bad. I love a lot of modern metal. But it sounds like real drum sounds, recorded, captured, mixed. Oh, it's an assault of vocals, and that's exactly what I wanted from this. Since his voice is so phenomenal and he knows how to do the multi-part thing. Oh, this is exactly what I would want from him being in a metal band. Maybe I've been just wrong about this band forever. less of a defined chorus on this one. That bass. Massive. Distortion. Oh. Nice cymbal work there. Oh, it sounds like the guitars are like tearing pages from books. All right, moving into track 5 in the Moonlight. We need something not that, just to center ourselves, right? All right, well, this is... Okay. I honestly did not know if we were going to get anything like this. Okay, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Cool riff. Okay. Oh. Lots of layering of vocals, clean in there, but also harsh, always too. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so big. Could be bass tracks on either side, too. Yeah, it sounds almost like there's bass on the left and the right. All right, good solo. We need it. Ooh. Play together. Solos are a little low in the mix. You can clearly hear them though. Okay. What an interesting vocal rhythm there, right? Da 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 da. The Moonlight. Oh boy. Awesome. awesome. I needed something a little slower, a little different than the first 4 tracks at that point. So that's great. It was still super heavy, of course. Not poppy or, but more accessible kind of in some ways, but then massive bridge there. Okay, this is track 6, Ride or Die. This is a short one. Let's try throwing on that high frequency again, right? Love his higher register voice. Okay. Have they ever released a live DVD or Blu-ray? Because I think in this case with this band, it would help me like them a little bit more. As long as they're good live, I guess. Generally, I don't care about a band and how they perform live, but with certain bands, like Children of Bodom, I really grew to appreciate them. Let's turn the high frequency off during a solo. When I point. Right now. See if it was obvious. Oh yeah, the Children of Bodom, I really grew to appreciate them more once I saw Stockholm Knockout, I believe it was. My favorite live performance DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, live DVD thing I've ever seen. And it really helped me love their music. And I think something like that could do something similar for this band for me. Love the groovy stuff, I love it. I wish it was a little clearer, a little mixed a little better. Love all the lead stuff. Awesome. Okay. Moving on to track 7, Headed for the Fall. Interesting.
Headed for the
Okay, wow, love the kick pattern here. Ooh, that's cool. Oh, yeah. Love it. Great chorus. Is this another single? It should have been. stage didn't go to the chorus again. Oh, here we are. I love that gang vocal sound. Though it's probably just a couple layers of him because his voice is so thick. Yes. Love it. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Love it. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. I was going to say it's my favorite, but I'm not quite sure. If they'd have gone back to the chorus a third time, which is something I like, not everybody cares about, that would have been my favorite one easily.
Shut the silence on!
Okay, shut the silence on. I will say, it's a little hard to differentiate from song to song. Like, they all are sounding a little bit kind of similar. I wish they had more unique elements to them. We'll see when if I listen to this album a few more times, throughout the year. Ooh. Interesting, different, almost similar approach to the previous song where the guitar on the left was doing kind of a lead part. Drums are smashing it, they're killing it. Okay, nice. They're using the lyrics of the name of the song usually as lyrics in the chorus, which helps differentiate when you're in the chorus, which is really nice. I appreciate that. Pick scrapes. It's gonna be hard to censor this. Ooh, love this. Yes. Simple but effective. Yes, back to the chorus a third time. Let's go. What a chaotic part on the left there. Yep, there we go. Huge gang vocals. Wow. All right, moving into track 9, Never Coming Home. Okay. Let's throw the high frequencies on again right here. Take them off. Ooh, interesting, that guitar in the middle there. Right, it's the part. It's but that note was resonating with some stuff in there. I almost thought it was clean vocals in there at first. Really interesting. Interesting. Okay, sort of same approach as the last two songs, really. The second half, the first chorus was a single-length chorus, second chorus was a double-length chorus, second time the right side guitar joined in harmony. What this? I didn't expect this. I love it. So the chorus again, let's go. Ooh. This one actually might be my favorite song on the album, honestly. Okay, a short one's coming up and we need something different. Okay, yes. Yes, they introduced acoustic guitars in the previous track, and now let's just chillax for 3 minutes here. I don't know if we're gonna do that. It may come in at any moment and kill us, but I love this. This needs to just be chill. I would love if Dev sang over this, but I don't know. Oh. Oh.
There's no sure footing on rocky terrain. You can lose your balance.
So they're keeping his clean vocals distorted because they don't want people to be like, we sold out, which is silly. They're pulling an in this moment at the moment, you know. I get it though. I understand the mentality behind keeping the vocals sounding like they're coming out of a mega horn, you know, half a mile away. You don't want it to be too accessible. You don't want it to be too ballad-like. And it's artistic this way. The acoustic guitars sound nice.
Summoning shadows, watching demons at play. Summoning shadows. Summoning shadows. Summoning shadows.
Okay.
Watching demons at play. Summoning shadows. Summoning shadows. And as the sun goes down, casting shadows on the ground. Summoning shadows.
A lot woofier the mix here. Love the layering of the vocals, the overlapping. Didn't expect that. We have a fade out, which means they have one fade out, which means it's a failing grade because there's no excuse to ever fade a song out. Ooh, like this. You're Just a Ghost, track 11. This is a longer one. 4:41. This is the longest one on the album, I believe. Again, can't have clean vocals clear so you can hear them. You gotta be hiding behind stuff so that it's still metal. Okay. Interesting. Nice. Love the repeating of that word. Just a ghost, a ghost, a ghost. There are some clean vocals in there, way in the background. Interesting there having the vocal be so far in the background, very Ghost-like, and then having him come in with the clean, not clean, but the like dry vocal there. I feel like this song's a little, it's not catching my attention as much. I might have reached my threshold maybe with stuff that sounds exactly like this. Because I do feel like there's fun stuff in here. Interesting. So this sounds like a chorus, but I didn't pick up on it the first time it happened, if it did. Okay, moving on to the penultimate track, Oath of Iron. This is a shorter one again, 3:09. Interesting. A little less. His voice sounds quite different there. Love the drums again here. The drums on the whole album have been fantastic. I like the constant kick pattern here. We haven't had a solo in a long time. We have had lead parts, though. It doesn't sound like they want to do a solo here either. Very cool, though. Oh, okay. There we go. Ooh. Flanging on the drums, interesting. I think one of the things that this actually might be reminding me of, well, I'll save my thoughts there. Alright, so we're coming up to the final track. One thing we talk about here on the channel this year a lot is final track vibes. Is this last song going to have final track vibes, or is it just going to sound like another song that could have been anywhere on the album? This is track 13, All Bets Are Off. Okay. So this is different right away. I would guess that it'll kick into gear and basically be the same sounding, but I don't know. Still heavy, though. Ooh. Love that background element there, that guitar. Oh, let's go. His voice sounds a little clearer here. Love it, love the rapid fire vocals. Give me a good chorus. The verse again. Love it. So this is probably the chorus, or feels almost like a post-chorus or a pre-chorus. All right, what are we gonna do here? Love it. Okay, now just destroy us. Although it's tough to do that when they've been destroying us the whole album. For the last 47 minutes, 48 minutes. Go back to the heavy, don't do the slow time. There we go. Oh yeah. Ooh. Okay, I'm really curious how that mix sounds compared to let's see. I don't know very many of their songs, but I know Swinging the Dead. Swinging the Dead. Oh, Digging Up Corpses. Let's see how this sounds compared to that. That song has 4 million plays. Okay, so remember how that sounded, and let's hear how this sounds comparatively, the mix-wise. Leaving it the same volume. Oh yeah, there's more clean vocals. They haunt me.
Tell me another story. Tell me another story.
Higher frequencies in the mix for sure.
Everyone has stories. They bore me. They bore me. The ends are feeling nervous.
Okay, I'm gonna have to turn. Well, I'll adjust it for you guys, but
Everyone's got skeletons in their closet. Don't ask me where they got
the
it.
guitars have more impact when they come in because they're if the whole mix isn't as compressed. There's more high frequencies, but the drums have way less impact, of course. They haunt you. Let's hear Swinging the Corpses. Swinging the Dead. Whoa. Now that sounds like metal and not something compressed all to hell. More high frequencies. Guitars sound thinner for sure, but there's more headroom in the mix, right?
Dig it up till it rings up. Don't the rock and roll haunted. Mr. Breaker, somewhere the monster thrives for the demon haunted. Get it up, dig him up till it rings up. Don't the rock and roll haunted. Mr. Breaker, some, Mr. Breaker, some for the evil haunted. Swinging the dead, swinging the dead, death round. Swinging the dead, swinging the dead, death round. Swinging the dead, swinging the dead. Game in my head is still clean. Bones go numb, I can't let go. This knife edge is all I know.
I don't know. This is so much more compressed, but I do think it probably sounds a little better. Okay. All right. Okay, so there we have it. We have Strike and Kill by DevilDriver with the coolest album cover I think I've maybe ever seen. So it was pummeling the entire time, and they didn't have, like, it is very heavy. It's incredibly heavy the entire time. And I was trying to think of what it kind of reminds me of, or bands that I enjoy that are like that, and I couldn't come up with too much. Now, don't get too mad at me for saying this, but I do think the heaviest parts of Poppy's music, some of the riffs and the way that it's approached, it does remind me of this. And so I do, and I like that a lot. Poppy's like one of my favorite artists. But this is very different. Poppy's stuff is mixed super, super well, whereas I don't think DevilDriver was mixed as well. I'm curious to see what happens when I'm editing the video and I add those high frequencies that I mentioned a couple times throughout. I don't think that this album was like destroyed by lack of high frequencies, though, like some of the stuff we have been listening to on the channel. So I do think that it kind of passes that test at least a little bit, but I like the songs. I love the grooviness of it. I like the drums really stood out to me the entire time. I thought the drums were fantastic. The moments where it was like a steady, fast kick pattern, just double bass, stood out to me. And the drums, the kick specifically, did not feel like this massive thing. The most massive thing we were hearing was the low frequencies in the guitars. The bass is there and the bass was distorted, but there was almost no moment on the album where the bass stood out to me at all. So I don't even know if there were moments where the bass was just going by itself without the guitars. I can't remember that off the top of my head. So it kind of just sounded to me like the bass was just doing what the guitars were doing. But the low frequencies from the guitars were so enormous and so panned wide on the sides. If you would have had anyone other than Dez singing over that, I don't know if it would have sliced through as much. But to me, the star of this album is the vocals. I mean, his vocals are incredible. I was trying to think about how to word it there, but I mentioned it kind of like his voice sounds like the thickest voice I've ever heard. And I mean it to say that like guitars distorted guitars are basically white noise. And I heard someone talking, but it could have been the dog barking outside too. I don't know. But distorted guitars are basically white noise. And so it's like the frequencies, the thing that makes guitars sound different from other, like distorted heavy guitars different from other instruments, is the massiveness of them, right? The weight of them. And I feel like a lot of heavy vocalists, harsh vocalists, they can do some crazy stuff, right, with their vocals, like the dude from Lorna Shore. I forget his name, and I apologize for that. But like lots of heavy, like super, super heavy vocals in lots of different styles of music, different styles of metal. But there's something about Dez's voice that is just so thick. It's so full. I feel like when he's singing with one track, it's just like one take. It sounds like he can achieve with that one take what other vocalists would take 3 takes to do, right? Like a high and then a low and then double it and then pan them slightly and stuff. And I'm not saying his mono voice sounds wide or anything like that, but his voice just sounds so full and so thick when he's screaming, when he's doing his harsh vocals. And he has the high voice and the low voice and the sort of mid-range voice, but his mid-range is lower than I feel a lot of harsh vocalists are. And so it's just, to me, it is so pleasing to listen to him do harsh vocals. And it's like what he does. I mean, he only did harsh vocals on this album, basically. There were a few background parts that sounded a little bit more melodic and close to being clean. And then I pointed out that like 2 times on the album where they did kind of have clean vocals, but it was so distorted and sounds like it coming from a megaphone or a little tiny transistor radio in a room several rooms away from where it's being recorded. Like they're doing that on purpose to make it sound like lo-fi or whatever. And it's just like, okay. However, I do think if they did mix in some clean vocals every now and then, I don't think that it would lose the heaviness of it, and it would only gain, clarity and diversity from song to song to song to song. Because that's my main criticism of this album overall, I would say, is that it kind of was my fear. I mentioned it at the beginning, but like hard to differentiate from song to song. And I do wish that he did more vocal layering, because if he did more vocal layering during the choruses, during what's perceived at least as the choruses, I do feel like it would be easier to tell, which section of the song you're in and each song from each song. Now, that being said, I do feel like he did that a lot. He did have vocal layering, and however, I feel like the thing that differentiated the choruses the most was the guitars. A lot of the songs, when the chorus would kick in, there would be a lead guitar part doing some crazy over the type of riff. And then for several of the songs, I really enjoyed it when the first chorus would kick in, and they did that, and it was on the left side, and then it was just a half-length chorus. And then the second chorus, the second time it reached the chorus, they did that first part again, and then they repeated that part, but there was a lead guitar coming in on the right side to do like harmony vocal or something. It made it really fill out and feel bigger, and it made the chorus feel special. And they did that several times throughout the album, and I really enjoyed that. But there were also a lot of times throughout the album where actually almost the entirety of the album was made, the different sections of the song sounded different, really only because of the guitars. Dez's voice wasn't really doing doing very many things different from, you couldn't differentiate his part between the verse, the chorus, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, whatever. He was basically doing the same sort of thing the entire time. However, I feel like the guitars were what was changing, and they were doing the patterns, like so that the rhythm guitars were the same sounding the entire time. And it's tough when you have like little breakdown parts in between the verse and the chorus, so it makes it feel less impactful when you get to like a breakdown part in a bridge, because they've been doing rhythmic stuff the entire time. So that's where the solos really helped separate everything. The bridges where the guitar solos were, I really loved that. Now, every guitar solo was a shredding guitar solo. It was a technical solo. There were no like melodic solos really. There were really cool squeal parts, and that's when I mentioned kind of Rob Zombie every now and then, and I liked that stuff too. And I do like the shreddy solos, but I wish there was a little bit more diversity to the solos, and some of them could have been like a double the length. But that's fine. That's not what they're doing, and that's cool. But the stuff that stands out to me is if you removed from this mix the rhythm guitars, the drums, the bass, the vocals, what are you left with? What are you hearing? And for a lot of the metal that I listen to, what you would be left with would be a combination of keys and synths and programming elements, sound effects, and some guitar stuff. depending on the band, maybe a lot of guitar stuff. Like Raunchy, for example, uses a lot of those things, everything I just mentioned. But this band pretty much just did guitar stuff. They did like guitar pad stuff. They did really reverbed out stuff. They did dissonant sort of sounding chords. They did a lot of fun, granular, like granular? What am I trying to say? Like fuzzy sounding or overdriven sounding, interesting guitar parts that sat in the background of the mix and gave it an eerie feeling sometimes, or just sat there, just existed to make the mix sound wider or thicker during certain parts. So that was the thing that sort of differentiated the different parts to me. So the guitars really stand out to me in that regard. But my personal taste, I would have really liked a bit more diversity between songs. So, this song sounds a little different from this one, sounds a little different from this one, sounds a little different from this one. Now, whether that's a cool intro or like a sample part or an actual clean vocal every now and then, that would have helped me enjoy this album, I think, a little bit more than I did, at least here on the first listen. So it does sound a bit samey to me throughout the whole thing, but I was kind of expecting that. But again, at the beginning, like you could tell, I really didn't know what to expect. I only heard the first 30 seconds, and the first 30 seconds were basically a representation of, I would say, the rest of the album, the entirety of the rest of the album. And I could tell, I felt myself getting a little bit fatigued around like song 10. I do think the final song, track 13, is one of my favorites for sure. And then honestly, I can't even tell you what my other favorites are. I know the that is a dog out there. The choruses on the first half of the album stood out more to me vocally, but then the guitars kind of took the front seat the second half of the album. Headed for the Fall was really nice and special. I did like that one. I did not care for Summoning Shadows really at all. I didn't think I didn't care for that one. You're Just a Ghost also was the one that I mentioned. I was like, I don't know. So I think when we reached Summoning Shadows, I was feeling a bit tedious with the album. But then Oath of Iron and All Bets Are Off got me back into it a little bit. But in my opinion, if you would have maybe, and I'm all for a long album, like give me everything you've got recorded, don't hold stuff back and never release it. I hate that kind of stuff. But without Never Coming Home and Summoning Shadows, which I do think Never Coming Home needed to be there because that was the song I think Summoning Shadows with the acoustic guitars, but Never Coming Home had the acoustic guitars. Oh, sorry, not Never Coming Home. So the Summoning Shadows and You're Just a Ghost. Those two songs you could maybe remove, and then the album would just be 11 songs, and I maybe would have been able to get through it a little bit better without feeling some tedium in there. However, like I said, I don't want to advocate for removing songs from the album. I like the bands giving us everything they got. So yeah, my only critique is, like I said, that it's a little samey, but I loved Dez's vocals the entire time. I liked the guitar rhythms and I liked the patterns and the riffs the entire time, but it did feel a little samey after a while. And I loved the lead stuff, could have had a little bit more lead stuff. And I just sometimes wish bands like this, the guitarists would be okay with just like not playing every now and then for a section of the song or playing something high. And then that makes it more meaningful when the heavy stuff comes in. But when you just are heavy the entire time, that's when the tedious feeling, I guess, or the fatigue kind of sets in. So there are my thoughts. I enjoyed this album a lot. I will be listening to it throughout the year. As of right now, I doubt that it will make it onto my top 12, which is something we put a lot of effort into here on the channel every year. But this year has been so phenomenal. It's actually been sort of like disgusting to me. That sorry, I just saw the date. As of right now, today, it's been 1 year since I left the hospital. That's pretty incredible. One year ago today, we left the hospital after being there for 100 days after my transplant. Incredible. Incredible. So anyway, let me know in the comments what other DevilDriver stuff I should look into. And based on everything I was saying with the variety, the guitars, all that stuff, and a better mix. The mix was too compressed and it was too smushed together. It just didn't have as much definition anywhere in the mix that I would have liked. I would love to hear a really high fidelity album from these guys. So let me know what you think is their best sounding album and what you think is your favorite album of theirs, and then which one you think I might like the most. And if all three of those things are the same album, that's great. I might think about doing it, but yeah, but this was good for me. I was happy with it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.